Marvin, just a second, okay?
Yes.
There's something I need to fix first before we continue with this presentation. Let's see now. Let's see. Folks, hang on just a minute. We're going to start very soon. Doc, it looks like I've run out of space. Do you have a record button on your computer there? Just is it from the top going downwards? Is there like a start recording button?
I don't see it. I got a microphone, a screen, and then 2 dashes, and then an arrow, and
okay.
Is that
at the very top of that panel? Does it say File, Options, View, Help, things like that?
No.
The very top.
Oh yeah, File Options, right.
Okay. Now, just move your eyes downwards. You should see a big play button.
Mm-hmm.
See that big. Okay. Then further down, do you see anything that says recording? Start recording.
I don't see anything on the recording.
Okay. All right. Well, we're just going to work with this as it is. Apologize, folks. I believe this is recording actually. Okay. All right. I think it's working. This is a crazy way to start a presentation, isn't it? Okay. Again, folks, thank you for joining us. This is Dr. David, and we are here with Dr. Marvin, who is a very dear friend and really has helped us produce some of the best and the most useful, most helpful presentations that we have had in the past couple of years. I mean, he is an integral part of Building Strength webinars, and I honestly don't know what we would have been able to do without him. So we're all so grateful, and we're always excited to have him on because he just brings such great information to our viewers around the world. And as many of you have seen in our emails, tonight's topic is obviously Protandim, but more specifically the advances, the recent discoveries that we have seen with Protandim. And I have to tell you, as I mentioned in the email, I've been tremendously impressed with this breakthrough technology. And it's only fitting for us to promote it because the results that we have seen and heard about from people who have watched these webinars and have used Protandim in their lives or for their loved ones, the results have been spectacular. And we would be remiss if we did not continue to let people know about this great breakthrough. This may be, for some people, the only hope they've got left. So that's why we do what we do. If you have any questions, again, please shoot us emails, or you can type in your questions in the chat box. And someone already just sent in a chat. Hi, who's this? Joan from Australia. How are you, sweetheart? It's always great to have people from way from the land beyond joining in these webinars. Okay, without much ado, I'm going to hand this over to Dr. Marvin. Dr. Marvin, are you there?
I am here.
All right, Doc. Thank you so much. Take it away.
Okay. My name is Dr. Marvin, and I just wanted to share with you a little bit. I've been on a quest for many years. I spent 55 years in the medical field as a family physician, working in western Kansas and 2 universities, teaching in 2 medical schools, because I really wanted to help people feel better and have a healthy life. And in spite of all these good intentions, I discovered after about 30 years, I wasn't going to reach my goal with drugs. And these goals were pretty elusive to me in some cases. You can't always find a way to help people with drugs and surgery alone. And I didn't know anything about nutrition. But I did know, as a pharmacist and a graduate of a pharmacy school, that the father of pharmacology said, and his name was Paracelsus, and he said this fact that I kept remembering all the time I was practicing. All that mankind needs for good health and healing is provided in nature. The challenge for science is to find it. Well, folks, for many years we looked into drugs for plants. We looked in plants for our answer. And many years we did that with real good results. However, as the new era come on and synthetic drugs came out, we thought we'd really got a hold of it. Paracelsus lived, see, 1493 to 1541. Now, 1600 years later, a biochemist at Duke University that ancient medicinal herbs are what is triggering our bodies to be able to fight the ravages of oxidative stress and hence our aging. 1600 years after Paracelsus said that. So that really rang a bell with me, because in my quest to help people, I found something that I've been looking for many years. Something that's safe, something that will achieve that, because even in my wanderings through the field of genetics, I found out that drugs won't change gene expression. Only plant substances, plant chemicals, plant substances will change gene expression. That's just made. That's just the way we're put together. And I feel now really at my later years finding what I've been looking for. And I invite you to join me. Join me in an effort to help people to good health in a non-toxic way, a non-dangerous way, a non-poisonous way. Something that you don't take like you do many drugs and have to take 2 or 3 drugs for side effects. No, these are totally harmless. And what I'm going to share with you tonight, I have given to a 2-month-old baby without any adversity. So if you'll just give me the time to talk to you about this, you'll really be granting me a wish. I'm trying to get people to collect together to help people in a safe, non-toxic way, because that's the way your body's put together. That's the way your body functions. And I've done plenty of the other, believe me. As a pharmacist, I fill prescriptions, and as a doctor, I wrote prescriptions. Now, after all that, I see a better way that people can have what they need in a totally non-toxic manner. And Dr. Joe McCord, who's now professor of medicine at the University of Colorado School of Medicine, enables us to do that. And tonight, I'm going to talk to you how this is possible, that you too can join in this quest to help people in a non-toxic manner. And I start by showing you some things that's what I look like. That isn't much, what's left of me, but I'm still striving to help people. Here's my CV. I have a BS in pharmacy at the University of Kansas, Doctor of Medicine, University of Kansas, physicians for 55 years. 55 now, as we had our reunion 3 weeks ago. I was assistant professor of family practice, University of Kansas, chairman of family, community, and geriatric medicine at Oral Roberts University in Tulsa. And the rest, well, I did have a radio program here in Kansas City called What's Up, Doc? And it was all the new things. And the things that you could do as an old country doctor would tell you that you wouldn't have to go to the doctor. Different things that you can do at home to prevent that. That you'd have your family have to go to the doctor at times. Good preventive measures. Now, this is a picture of the company that I'm talking about tonight. It's an 8-year-old company. It has a very experienced management team, transitioned from retail sales into personal franchises. Now, here's a point that I want to make. This product is safe, non-toxic, and there's 29 medical schools doing research as we speak on this with their own money. That's big, folks, because they hardly ever have any extra funds to do research with, but they're doing it with Protandim. That's the product, Protandim. It means to synergize. That's where the name comes from. We have 4 patents. Now, wellness is my quest. Wellness for people who can afford it. It isn't so expensive. It doesn't take people out of the workplace. It doesn't put you in a hospital and run up huge doctor bills. I just had a friend that was seen in the clinic, a well-known clinic, for 4 days on an outpatient basis. Her bill was $16,000. You see, there's a trend away from that because we can't afford it. Strongest economic situation are the baby boomers. And they want to look younger, they want to feel better, and I'm all for them, and that's what my goal is. Concerned about health issues and anti-aging. You know, our body genetically is made to last between 120 and 150 years, so the geneticists tell us. But you look around, how many of those do you see? It's because we have oxidative stress that is more than it's ever been in history. And we're all anxious many times about our retirement and our financial future. I have to make a disclaimer for this wonderful product called Protandim. It's not intended to treat, cure, or prevent any disease. I'm required to say that. What is Protandim? A very brief review for newcomers. Protandim is an NRF2 activator, a biochemical wake-up call to all of our bodies. NRF2 is an enzymatic transference pathway that is in all of our bodies, all 100 trillion cells. And we have had no natural activator of NRF2 ever put on the market until Protandim. That's a big issue here because it will activate every cell in your body. And this is kind of how it works. I'm sorry to have something as complicated and strange as NRF2 activation, but that's just what it does. Here's the inside of your cell. Here's Protandim. It connects onto these little kinase particles and goes all around your cells, kind of like a cleanup sweeper, cleaning out your cells, and that's part of where we get our survival-related enzymes that are produced inside that cell. There's many survivor enzymes from survivor genes, and that's what the activation of NRF2 leads to. I will try not to be any more scientific than that because I know that is something that unless you've had background, you probably won't be real interested in. Protandim provides protection against oxidative stress. We have all kinds of oxidative stress in our society. This is the cause of our aging. Now, to best describe this would be to take a piece of steel, lay it outside for a month, and see what it would look like. It would be rusty. Rust to steel is like aging to your body, and we're all aging at varying degrees. It also protects against inflammation. This is the strongest anti-inflammatory ever found that's totally safe, causes no gastric irritation. We can give it to babies. It also will eliminate fibrosis. That's a big issue because there's a lot of it, collect a lot of fibrotic tissue as we get older. Also, it's been proven by clinical studies to lessen carcinogenesis. On that alone, folks, I would be taking this. And there's other stressful conditions. And how did it do that? How does Protandim do that? Well, see, it affects 4,000 genes in your body. And they're not done because these medical schools are telling us new information all the time. And the latest report, I had a meeting with Dr. Joe McCord in San Antonio, and he said that when we end up with all this research with 29 medical schools, we're going to end up with somewhere between 6,000 and 8,000 genes that are impacted by Protandim. Now, it regulates gene expression, instructing our cells to combat these conditions above, these 5 conditions, using information encoded in the DNA contained in each and every cell. Well, let me tell you, that's where health resides, is in the cell. You get healthy cells, you're going to have healthy tissues. Now, our 9th clinical study has just been completed. It was done at the University of Colorado School of Medicine, separate from Dr. McCord's unit in Biochem department. And what it showed that atherosclerosis, or the origin of all heart disease, there's 19 genes identified. These are modulated by Protandim. Also, colon cancer, 28 genes were identified, modulated by Protandim. Alzheimer's, as you know, is pretty near an epidemic in this country, and it's due to oxidative stress. Everybody's been wondering what causes Alzheimer's. We know now it's oxidative stress, and there's 66 genes identified. These are modulated by Protandim. This shows the possibilities that are enormous of preventing these 3 devastating diseases, and that's the gist of this 9th clinical study. And anybody that would like to have a copy of that, all they have to do is email me. And I think most of you have my email. If not, you can email Building Strength Webinars, and David will send you my email. Now, I just wanted to touch base, and I don't want you to even be worried about all this science, but I just want to bring this down from the paper that I just discussed. Genes affected by atherosclerosis, also known as hardening of the arteries. It bothers many people's carotid arteries and can cause strokes, but it also involves the coronary arteries, which causes death. The leading cause of death is stroke and heart attacks, and that's what is origin in atherosclerosis. Now, the disease causes uploading of these genes. These are all genes in your cells. Everybody has these. But the disease causes uploading. Protandim causes downloading. Now, that isn't too complicated. It downloads each one of these genes shown. And this is why I wanted to show this tonight. This is fact, folks. This is paper that's published. Now, here's the rest of them. And you don't need to even spend much time. You'll find this prostaglandin endoperoxide synthase in several different genes. But each time, Protandim downloads it. Now, in general, you can see this is a download by the disease, and for that, Protandim uploads. And so, this is the benefit of Protandim. I want this in my body because this is the seat and origin of your disease. Colon cancer. Again, here's the genes I mentioned a while ago, the 19. And what happens? Here's the disease of cancer of the colon. It's all uploaded, each one of these different genes. And Protandim downloads them. Downloads them, folks, so this won't be active. I want that in my body, and I want it in every one of yours. It's within the sound of my voice. Here's some more. These are the rest of the genes involved. And as you can see, Protandim efficiently downloads them. No other product has ever done this, folks. None in the world. This is a new origin. Okay, again, we have this, and we have this here. These are separate genes that are quasi-involved, so those are uploaded in other conditions. Alzheimer's. Again, here's the genes, here's the uploading. When people have Alzheimer's and their mental cognition starts to deteriorate, these genes are all uploaded by oxidative stress. That creates Alzheimer's. That's what happens when you take Protandim. And folks, I just want to pitch in here. I've had 6 people wake up from advanced Alzheimer's on this product. 6. 2 of them were spouses, and the ladies told me their husbands woke up and started talking to them in 14 days on Protandim. I'm not promising that'll happen to everybody, but it's happened to some of them. Okay, here again, you see the pattern. This is the disease, and here's the downloading of Protandim effect on these genes. Isn't it amazing to have something totally harmless, non-toxic, doesn't interfere with any drug, has no contraindications, and no side effects that would do this much power to reverse the effects of Alzheimer's? And here we go again. Same thing. These are the same ones you saw before. And whenever the disease does this, Protandim does that in counteraction. Counteraction of the problem. And here we are again, the same thing. This is more because there's 66 genes here. And as you see, Protandim is what you want in your body when this happens. Okay, what kind and types of oxidative stress do we see in our society? Well, one, everybody knows there's psychological stress. Families are broken up. Spouses are having to work. Many times single mothers, and I have a daughter that is, are under dire stress. Psychological, physical, working more than one job. I talked to a man the other day, and I asked him how he was doing. He said, oh, pretty good. He said, I keep busy. I'm having to work 3 jobs because of the economy. That's physical stress. 3 separate jobs he works. He gets probably between 4.5 and 5 hours a day of sleep. Very little time with his family. That's physical and psychological stress. Dietary stress, because most of our vegetables are harvest green, gassed with ethylene gas, and made to look red. We call that dietary stress because if you've tasted a tomato lately and you knew what homegrown tomatoes tasted like when you were a little child, you know there's a big difference. I can't tell when I quit eating tomato and start eating cardboard. And that's because the nutrition comes in 72 hours before it's totally ripe. And these are picked 12 days before they even change color and gassed to give them the red color. And environmental stress. All these chemicals. Somewhere around 92% of all the chemicals we're exposed to didn't exist prior to World War II. And that is something that over 88% have never been tested for toxicity. That causes environmental stress. This is why we're aging. This is why our get up and go is got up and gone. Now, Protandim is the only supplement, get that, supplement clinically proven to reduce oxidative stress by an average of 40%, slowing down the cell aging process to the level of a 20-year-old. Wow. Is that ever a mouthful? Well, that isn't my saying it, and it isn't the company saying it. The FDA approved that statement. That's big. 40%. I want that. You know, that slows your aging down to the speed of the aging of a 20-year-old. Now, all the years that I practiced, 55 years, I never had a person come into me and say, Dr. Marvin, will you please give me a prescription or something to make me age faster? No, and I never will. None of us wants to age faster. But up until now, there was not much you could do about it. Again, this will drop your rate of aging to 40% or more. We've had one study showed 45 and one showed 48, but to be conservative, we used the lesser of the 3. Slowing down the cell aging process to the level of a 20-year-old. FDA-approved statement. This shows as you get older, your T-bars, which is a chemical in your blood that you collect as you get older. And scientists can take some of your blood and give you within 2 or 3 years of your age by the T-bars. If you take Protandim for 30 days, your T-bars will not change from that of a 20-year-old. Proven, folks, by 30 labs. 30 labs. Okay? How do we fight aging? there's two types of antioxidants. Neutralize these destructive free radicals that we all have being produced in our body through the metabolization of food. But we have two ways of combating that. Direct antioxidants, which is mostly juices, fruits, and vitamins, red wine, etc., blueberries, pomegranates, whatever. That's the direct antioxidants. Up until now, that's been the entire field of antioxidants. However, we now have indirect antioxidants. We don't have antioxidants, plural, we have one. And here's what they do. They work entirely within the cell. These work outside the cell. And these work on three main enzyme systems inside the cell. One is superoxide dismutase, which Dr. Joe McCord discovered when he got his PhD at Duke University. Catalase, which we've known inside the cell. And glutathione peroxidase. So what difference does this have over that? Well, big. The definition of an antioxidant is an agent that inhibits or neutralizes free radicals by the donation of an electron, thereby preventing damage to our cells. It's an agent that neutralizes free radicals by the donation of an electron. Now, how important is that? 73% of the U.S. population will die prematurely due to a deficiency of antioxidant ability or activity in their body. This involves the top 10 leading causes of death, also including the ones we just mentioned: colon cancer, heart disease, atherosclerosis, and Alzheimer's. Here's an example of steel that's rusted. Well, you can see that all everywhere you go. Anything that's left outside in the weather will sooner or later rust. But even though we're inside, we rust, but we call it aging. Free radicals cause aging and disease. Many diseases are associated with cellular deterioration due to rogue molecules called free radicals. That's, in essence, what did this. We think of oxidative stress like rusting of metal. But no, we aren't metal. We're human tissue. So the high levels of oxidative stress are associated with more than 200 top human diseases, including cancer, heart disease, muscular dystrophies, diabetes, liver disease, autism, periodontal disease, and Alzheimer's. Now, one of the first colleges to do on their own research on Protandim was Harvard University in Boston, studying Duchenne's muscular dystrophy, and proved in our first clinical paper, and I'll tell you how to find that it would do a reversal of Duchenne's, which has been a deadly disease of little boys dying usually between 12 and 14 years of age. What really works when you're dealing with free radicals? Well, direct antioxidants is a one-on-one. Like one part of antioxidant will neutralize one part of free radical, period. You can say milligram for milligram if you want to. That's a direct antioxidant. Now, the only indirect antioxidant is Protandim, but it works in a little bit different way, a higher magnitude. It's 1 per 1 million, per second, every second, for 13 days. I'll repeat that. Protandim eradicates free radicals 1 million per second, every second, for 13 days. How many free radicals does your body produce every day? Well, I'm glad you asked. We produce so many that to completely eliminate them with a direct antioxidant, with juices and fruits, vitamins, blueberries, here's what you would have to consume every day. 87 glasses of red wine, 375 oranges, 11 pounds of blueberries, or 120 vitamin C tablets, 500 milligrams each, and every day to neutralize the amount of free radicals your body produces every single day. Now let's just look at this. If you consumed 87 glasses of red wine a day, you'd have a problem way and beyond aging. You'd have a problem knowing which planet you're on. And your liver would probably be dragging in the ground, because that's an awful lot of wine for anybody to drink every day and every day and every day. It's the same for 375 oranges a day. You think you'd have a little acid indigestion? Well, what about 11 pounds of blueberries every day? If that isn't enough to make you acidotic, 120, 500 milligrams vitamin C surely would. Okay, here's my answer. How many free radicals do we produce every day in our bodies? 300, with 21 zeros. It's called 300 sextillion. Now, you can see why you must have an antioxidant that deals in the realm of Protandim. 1 million free radicals neutralized per second, every second, for 13 days. And the next day you'll make that much more. And so you take a pill. One a day, every day, is what you use. So, direct antioxidants versus indirect. Fact: direct antioxidants do not effectively neutralize free radicals or lower oxidation in the body. They do not effectively neutralize free radicals or lower oxidation in the body. So we cross that one out. And here it is. Protandim is the only supplement clinically proven to reduce oxidative stress by an average of 40%, slowing down the cell aging to the level of a 20-year-old. While conventional or direct antioxidants can neutralize only one free radical molecule per molecule, Protandim triggers the creation of enzymes that can each eliminate over 1 million free radicals per second without being used up. Per second, every second, for 13 days. You see, folks, that's why this is important. That's why this is going to change the way you feel if you allow it. Now, we have only one product in two forms. One, we have a tablet. Two, we have a cream. And this is a wonderful cream. And this has been proven by a published paper from Louisiana State University with a research they had done on skin cancer. This will remove skin cancer. And I can say that because it's published. If you have an argument with me, please just go to bigbluecalendar.com and pull up that LSU article, and you have an argument with them. That's what they say. Utilizes proven benefits of Protandim. It's a cream with Protandim. Fights radical damage to the skin. Noticeably diminishes fine lines and deep wrinkles. I've never seen anybody ask me how they can get more of those. Stimulates skin renewal, collagen, and elastin production. Lightens age spots, you know, those big brown spots, and balances pigmentation. Increases skin smoothness and moisturization. Dermatological tested. Dr. Kimberly Stone, MD, in Denver, a dermatologist, uses this in her practice. Now, here's some results. This lady has got a few wrinkles here, yawn, and everywhere. Here's 60 days later. I don't know whether you can see the difference, but she was sure happy. And here's another one. Now, these little crevices are kind of like mine. You know, something you'd put in there, take a trowel to cover them up with an ointment or a cream. But look at here, 56 days later. Moisture's been reinstated. Collagen and elastin has been reinstated in this face. My wife uses this instead of makeup now, and has for about 4 months. You know, it's different. Here's Kimberly Stone's comment. True science is different in formulating true science. She was in on it. She made the recommendations for the base. We took the best ingredients from different successful products and then added several of the main components of Protandim to develop a very unique product. There are many anti-aging creams out there that contains antioxidants, but none that have the powerful combination True Science has. I'm excited about the potential I see with this True Science. She said once that she uses it in about 80% of the patients she sees. Now here's something about the formulator, Dr. Joe McCord. I've met with him a couple of times. In 1968, a highlight of Duke University Medical School, when Dr. Erwin Fredovich and graduate student Joe McCord discover the enzyme which protects all living things against the toxicity of oxygen. Dr. McCord helped launch the study of antioxidants in 1969, co-discovered free radical biology, nominated 4 times for the Nobel Prize in Medicine, received the Elliott Crescent Medal in 1997. In fact, the last recipient that has been given to was Dr. Joe McCord. And why was he given that? For discovering the biology of free radical reactions in living organisms. He's now professor of medicine at the University of Colorado, and I might add, Duke University had their centennial this May. 100 years as a medical school. And they listed the 5 most outstanding accomplishments of that 100-year tenure of Duke University School of Medicine. One of the 5 was Dr. Joe McCord and his mentor, Erwin Fredovich, and their discovery of superoxide dismutase. One of the 5 outstanding things Duke University did in their 100 years was his discovery of superoxide dismutase. Okay? Here's when he received it at Duke University. Here's his mentor, and he's got his PhD with this study. Elliott Crescent Award is here, but I'll show you some other people that also have won this. You might know of Marie and Pierre Curie, Wilbur and Orville Wright, Alexander Graham Bell, Henry Ford for the assembly line. What would we do without the assembly line? And Joe McCord. Now, here's a little study that was done by 30 labs, each separate, testing the T-bars, that's thiobartrate, and a 20-year-old level, a 40-year-old, 60, and an 80-year-old. But if you give each one of these people Protandim for 30 days, like we're doing here, here's the result. The T-bars are down at the same level as a 20-year-old. Folks, I ask you, join me in a quest to help people slow down their aging and put more life in their years instead of just years in their life. We've got too much of that. I used to go to 11 nursing homes in Kansas City because I had a compassion for old people. Now I am one. But I know now that I can cut down my aging. And that's what I'm all about today. Join me in helping people feel a better life at their age. 20 and 80, the same after 30 days of Protandim. We have 4 patents. These patents were issued 07, 08, 09, and 11. And they're composition patents, alleviating oxidative stress in mammals, composition alleviating oxidative stress in mammals. This is a different one than this one, and this was different than all of them. And if you want to really read exciting reading, and I'm not being facetious, you want to read these patents because they tell you everything the Protandim was tested on. It's magnanimous. Partial list of studies in the medical field. These are all schools that are now doing research at their own expense on Protandim. They're that excited about it. Here's University of Michigan. I believe Michigan State is also here, but I'm not sure it's on this list. And here's some more. Ohio State, University of Minnesota, Virginia Commonwealth, Vanderbilt, University of Florida, Harvard, Louisiana State. Now, folks, you may think that this is just another supplement, but you've never seen this with a supplement ever before. Denver Health Medical Center, University of Colorado, University of Michigan, University of Kentucky. There's 29 scientific studies of Protandim underway at leading research institutions, 29 medical schools, involving the most serious of all health conditions. And we get these publications, of which we now have 9, as soon as the studies are complete. This is a window of opportunity for us to help people. This is new, folks. I had a doctor from Florida call me and say, we know the long-term effects of drugs. What's your idea of the long-term effects of Protandim? How long have these ingredients been used in humans? Oh, I said, I'm glad you asked. 2,000 years. Just 2,000 years. We know these are safe. They were used in China and India for 2,000 years. Dr. McCord made the combination in such a manner that would be synergistic to each other. And that's the glory of this product. We're here, and here's where we're headed. And we just need to have enough people. When we get 15 to 18% of the American people aware of this, we'll reach the tipping point. And the tipping point is then when this will become a common word in our society. And that's my prayer, that this will be. So enough people will want to share this with their loved ones, their old ones and their young ones. Just share it and see how it works in your life. It's a very unique position we're in. 40 years of science. Dr. McCord worked on this for 44 years. He had the right combination to energize the NRF2. It's an 8-year-old company, publicly traded, offering ownership, proven product, now available only from distributors. And here's a sign that I had on my desk. I had a very dear colleague. He was a physician that I dearly loved. He's dead now. And he was German. And he would always say this, Das Eisenschmieden Schorlen ist, strike while the iron is hot. Because we got a population that is sick, deteriorating. We've got scientific proof that we can alleviate them. Let's go out there and do that. I have a passion for that. Passion to help people. And many of them don't even know there's help. Many of them don't know help is just around the corner. If you would like to know more about this new technology, go to the person who invited you to this seminar. That's your first obligation. Go to them and share with them what you've seen tonight and that you want to get involved and learn more or maybe help people. If you have no one, but through this advertising of Building Strength webinars, then here's the phone numbers. I'm going to leave them up here for a little while so that you can write them down or email here, and David will help you. Dr. David, who runs the Building Strength webinars, will assist you in getting you to where you can order this or obtain it. So, first again, if anyone else shared with you about this product and directed you to this webinar tonight, please go back to them and talk to them. That's the fair thing to do. And if no one else has, but just seeing David's advertisement of this webinar, then here's your phone numbers, and you can do that. So, I don't know whether David has any questions up here for me or not. I'll be more than happy
Absolutely. Wow. That's a lot of new information you shared with us tonight, Doc, on Protandim. Thank you so much.
Well, I'm so blessed to be able to do that, and I hope I didn't make it so a lot of people couldn't enjoy it. I tried to make it so it'd be easy assimilated by everybody. That's my goal.
Right. I think you did that, and the whole concept of upregulating gene expression. I mean, that's in science, in the scientific world, in many fields, that's the key to health. I mean, they look at the genes and how the gene is expressed, and they see what regulates the genes and what makes them express themselves or not express themselves. And seeing a product that can actually do that. You said 4,000?
Yes, 4,000. We've proven 4,000. Dr. McCord says he suspects it'll be between 6,000 and 8,000. And if it's 8,000, that's 1 out of 3, because you've only got 25,000. And here's the thing. One thing I want to emphasize, drugs will not change gene expression. We're meant to have natural products. That's what we're meant. Hunter-gatherers didn't go to the local drugstore. Hunter-gatherers didn't depend on their pharmacists to fill their prescriptions or their doctors to write them. They ain't products of vegetation. Roots, leaves, sprouts, and etc. And they were healthy. Now, when I graduated from medical school, cancer was the 8th leading cause of death. It's now number 2. Does that tell everybody something? It isn't in drugs, folks. It's in nutrition. Max Gershon proved that in 1930s, early 1930s. He was curing all kinds of diseases, cancers included, in Germany because he was Jewish. He came to the United States in the Holocaust. He built a hospital. He wasn't allowed to keep his hospital treating people with just vegetation. So he moved his hospital to Mexico, and his clinic still is in Southern California. But that whole concept was right on. Now we have a tool within our hands that we can change people's lives. I have done that. And if you would like, I'm inviting you to listen in every Tuesday night, and I want to give this to you. I have a phone call of which we discuss different effects of this. It's on every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. The dial-in number is 712-432-0885. The access code is 845472#. 845472#. You are all welcome. All you have to do is just dial in 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. Okay, do we have any questions, David?
Yes, we do. And folks, just remember you can type in your questions in the top right, and that's floating bar in the top right. Okay. And is it necessary to cease taking other antioxidants when commencing this product?
No, there's no need to take any other antioxidant products when you're taking Protandim. As you can see tonight, it overwhelmingly is more powerful than anything that's ever been brought to the surface. A 1-for-1 versus 1 for 1,000,000 every second for 13 days. Count it up. See what the power of that is. That's what Protandim does.
And that is, I mean, I've heard it before, Doc, and to me it still sounds too good to be true. I mean, this has been documented, right?
Absolutely. 30 separate labs documented it, none of which were Protandim labs, LifeVantage labs, or Dr. McCord's labs. These were all separate. See, Dr. McCord is a professor of medicine, and when he wants to establish the veracity of any compound, he knows he has to have overwhelming evidence for a supplement, and he has that now. 29 medical schools. There's never been one medical school done extensive research on a supplement. We have 29 of them. And Harvard's doing their second one. Their second one.
What was the first one on?
The first one was on Duchenne's muscular dystrophy. I am told they're now doing it on brain damage, brain injury, Parkinsonism, and strokes.
Wow.
That's what they're doing now.
You let us know when they come up with any results, okay? We want to be the first to hear about it on a webinar, okay?
You bet.
All right, thanks. Okay, Joan from Down Under wants to know if, by the way, Joan, good to see you on the webinar again. Long time no chat. Okay. Can you explain the mechanism of how and why this particular antioxidant attaches itself to the cell wall? Is that how it works, Doc?
It doesn't attach to the cell wall. It is produced inside the cell. There's 3 avenues of enzymatic reaction in their cells, every cell of your body, all 100 trillion. One is superoxidase dismutase. The other is catalase. And the third one is glutathione peroxidase. It does not attach itself to the cell. It is inside the cell, and Protandim just stimulates what's inside the cell already, but has lessened its effect by the downloading of genes due to oxidative stress. We raise that, not higher than normal, back to where it was 3 or 4 decades before. And that's what it does. By the way, I've got 10 or 12 people, and my hair, myself, is experiencing my hair coming in natural color. And the reason for that is
you're turning back into a redhead, Doc?
Yes. And you can see it when I get my hair just under the light. But many of them are much stronger than mine. And the reason for that is you have gray hair because your level of catalase drops as you get older. And when it does, the base of the hair follicle produces hydrogen peroxide. That's where your gray hair comes from. Now, with this, we raise the catalase, and voila, people's hair are coming back their natural color. I have a dear friend that likes gray hair better than her natural hair, and she told me she was going to start bleaching the natural color out because she likes the gray hair better.
I haven't heard that before. That's funny. That's funny. Okay, so a couple of questions about if this will be run again. Now, folks, here's what we do. On average, for webinars that we host, because of the time and what it takes to do this, the webinars are free if you get them live. But we archive them, and it is available to members. And what does it take to be a member? All of $25 for the entire year. For $25 for the entire year, that's about $2 a month. You can have access to over 300 webinars. And Dr. Marvin has done this is like the 5th or 6th presentation on Protandim you've done. The 5th. So he's done. And every time it's been something different. Obviously, the basics are there about Dr. Joe McCord and the universities, but he always comes up with something new. So we have all those webinars archived on our site. And if you would like to avail yourself of them, I think $25 is not a bad deal at all. And he also has done several other presentations on everything from omega-3 fatty acids to aging and longevity. So we would encourage you to take advantage of that great deal. Simply go to our website, buildingstrengthwebinars.com. Buildingstrengthwebinars.com. That's what you're looking at right now, actually. And then click on membership, and then you can access all of the webinars. And if you don't see them there, just send us an email, and the email is right there. All right. How do I access all of the 9 published clinical studies? Joan, again.
Okay. You go to bigbluecalendar.com. bigbluecalendar.com, and near the right side of that website, near the bottom, are the 9 published articles. You click on them, they'll come up, and you can even email them. And if you'd like, bigbluecalendar.com.
Perfect.
Okay?
Oh,
and if you have any trouble either email David or myself.
How are T-bars measured? Joan, another Joan from down under. We've got two Joans from down under on this call, Dr. Marvin.
Good. Well, T-bars are tested and measured in a research lab, and they're pretty expensive if you can find a research lab to do them. However, we know they work on all people because 30 labs have proved it. So I wouldn't recommend you do that right now. There's a company in California, Revelar, who are developing a handheld machine, kind of like a vital capacity machine that you breathe in for your doctor to see your lung capacity. And this company is developing a machine that will test exhaled aldehyde, which is the same test, and it's much, much, much cheaper. It's about $45, they tell me. I don't know whether that's yet available, but Dr. McCord said it will soon be available because the company has contacted him, and they're going to make that available. I myself don't see any need. I can tell the way I feel that it worked on me. I have three times the energy. I have three times the energy. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Doc.
3 times the energy, 3 times the exercise tolerance. I sleep REM sleep at night. I would take this just for the sleep I have, the rest that I have. It's wonderful. I lost the arthritis in my right hand in 3 days. Now, let me tell you, I want to help people. I want to share that with people. I want to see people, whenever I go to the post office and see older people crippling in and crippling out, I want to say, hey, I got something for you. But I know they'll think I'm just selling it. I'm not just selling it. I'm helping people if I can. And I try and try every day to share this with people in such a manner that they'll get on it and enjoy more life in their years rather than years in their life.
Now, Joan, I think that's a great point. I didn't have to test myself either to know whether they work. The science seemed to make sense to me, but people still need to, some people have to have themselves tested. Joan, again, and I think you've answered this question, do I need to have T-bars tested to prove that it works? Now, Doc,
no.
just for, please let us know. I know we know you've worked as a doctor for 55 years, so that kind of gives us a ballpark number of idea of your age. But could you tell us your age, please?
82.
82 years old.
Yes.
Wow, I'm going strong. My goodness. So this does work when you're older.
I'm doing about 3 big meetings a week, plus a Bible study on Thursday and a telephone call on Tuesday. That answer anybody's question?
That's impressive. That's impressive. Well, I know you would be absolutely miserable if you didn't have your plate full anyway, so.
Well, you know, I'd rather wear out than rust out. Too many people, to my sorrow, are rusting out in nursing homes, in retirement homes. I'd rather wear out than rust out, and I have found how to do that, and I want to share it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, here's a very important question. Is Protandim safe for someone with a heart transplant who is on drugs to impede rejection? Very important.
It all depends on how fresh the transplant is. I would, if you can, call me, and I'll talk to you in detail about that before you give it to anybody with a transplant. I don't want to do any harm.
Good.
The Hippocratic Oath, in essence, says, do no harm, and therefore I want to do no harm. When I graduated from medical school, one of my old professors says to our class, just every one of you remember, MD can also mean meddling devil. I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that. So I'll give you my phone number. My phone number is 6498. And before you give the man with the heart transplant Protandim, you call me, or a liver transplant, or a kidney transplant. Okay?
Okay.
I'll explain it all to you, but I don't want to go into all that detail tonight. Here. Okay?
And it is Big Blue Calendar, not Basic Blue, Jones. So it's BIGBLUE calendar.com. Okay, here's another question. And here's another great question. Is it allowable under FDA and TGA restrictions, I don't know what TGA means, to be able to mention specific disease conditions in relation to this product?
Yes, and here's why. We have clinical publications to prove what we say. We have clinical facts to prove it. The problem with mentioning disease about any supplement, and I don't know of any others that are allowed to do it, but as long as I quote what has been proven in clinical studies, just like this one tonight from the University of Colorado School of Medicine, I can quote it because I have proof, not my proof, their proof. All I'm doing is repeating to you what is in. There's 9 clinical studies. No other supplement has studies like this one. Okay?
That's amazing. All right. By increasing the dose from 1 to 2 tablets a day, does that increase its effectiveness?
No, not necessarily. There's extenuating circumstances. If you have someone who's morbid in stage 4 disease of any kind, it's recommended that you take 1 tablet a day for about 7 days to get the load of free radicals out of your body or out of the patient's body. And then you can give 1 twice a day, 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening, always with food, always with water, for 2 weeks, then go back to 1 a day. Because as you can see, if you figure out, we've got 60 million free radicals neutralized a minute. You don't need that many. Now, I've had a 20-year-old boy that has come out of a coma due to drug overdose. He was in a critical care unit. The doctors, after 5 days, wanted to pull the plug on his respirator. This is a personal case of mine. I can prove every word I say. His mother called me after 5 days and said, "Can we get Protandim into my son?" I said, "Does he have a stomach tube?" "Yes." "A G-PEG?" I said, "Okay, dissolve 2 tablets at bedtime. Then in the morning, take half of that ounce in an ounce of water, take half the ounce, squirt it in the T-tube, and that evening the other half, and do that again at bedtime." 21 days later, she called me crying. I said, "What's wrong? What happened to your son?" She said, "I took him home today, walking, talking. I have my son back."
Wow.
That's what I'll do. Now, that's a personal experience. It's proven by every physician in that Ohio hospital where it happened. All emergency doctors went up personally to visit with him to make sure they weren't dreaming something. He was in coma. This brought him out of it. He had brain damage, proven, and he had heart damage, proven. He's now home, walking, talking, back with his mother. 20 years old.
Wow. Wow. So he's fully functional now. From
Yes.
And the diagnosis was brain damage, did you say?
And heart damage. He had collapsed alone during the drug orgy, and he was cyanotic when he was brought into the emergency room. They don't know how long. It was about 24 hours. He'd been in a coma that long, and it took the rest of them time enough to wake up, and they tried to wake him up and couldn't. So they took him into the emergency room. The mother didn't know where he was. He had a collapsed lung. He'd been cyanotic most of that time. He had brain damage and heart damage. He's now restored. You show me anything in your drugstore or your supplement cabinet that would do that, please show me something else that would do it. The doctors, 5 of them, had decided it was time to unplug him before we ever started him on this. She's very happy she didn't unplug him. She's very happy she gave him Protandim. Many other people don't want to take Protandim. She did because it was her last resort, and she has her son back. That's what keeps me going, David.
That's amazing. Well, I just hope people don't have to wait until they get a last resort before they find out what can help them maintain their health on a regular basis, huh?
Yep.
Okay, omega-3 oil, someone is asking, Betty is asking, what about omega-3 oils and CoQ10?
Oh, fine. I think CoQ10 is fine. Wonderful. I recommend it to people. I think omega, I take omega. You know, I've done a DVD, a seminar, 2 or 3 seminars on omega-3. I'm sold on it. Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with it. We're here in a new technology. That's what's different. If I would offer each one of you, I'll take you a ride tonight in a buggy or an F-18, how do you think would be the quicker to get from here to New York? You can go in the buggy. I'd rather go in something a little faster, unless I wanted to sightsee. And I've sightseen about all of this whole life of illness, and I want to change it. I want to change people so they don't cripple around and not even have any life in their years. I want to put life back in their years. That's my passion.
Well, we appreciate you doing this, Doc. A lot of people are being helped by this. How meaningful is the biophotonic testing device from Pharmanex in showing reversal of oxidative stress?
Well, I haven't had to use that because I can tell it. When I lost the arthritis in my right hand, I didn't have to have it tested. I can feel it. I know it's excellent. I have a friend who was going to have 2 knees replaced. He'd rather dance a jig than have some bioplatonic test done. That's the best test for him, is his range of motion, his activity, walking, and it's cheap.
So he doesn't have to have his knees replaced?
No, no. I've had many of those. Now, if you enjoy having a knees replaced, that's fine. I'd rather have it otherwise.
Wait a minute, Doc. Well, we've been told that if you are bone on bone, there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. You've got to replace those knees. So you're saying that that is not so?
I don't know. I never look inside. I just go on what the people tell me.
So these people were supposed to have their knees replaced, have prosthetic, they have artificial implants on the joints, have new joints.
And I've got several of them.
After how long? How long were they on Protandim?
Well, one of them I know was on less than 3 months. Another one was even shorter than that. But I don't have to look inside. You know, it's the old saying, the proof of the pudding is in the tasting. And I'm not hung up on tests. You know, my old professor at medical school at KU used to tell us, if you listen to the patient long enough and keep your mouth shut, they'll usually tell you what's wrong with them. Then you verify it by a physical, and you prove it by a few proven tests. You don't send the patient to the lab in those days and ask them if there's anything left after the testing, send it back to the room. No, you don't do a test on everything.
Wow.
And I don't have to test somebody that was going to have his knees replaced when I see him out square dancing. I'd rather have him square dancing than in rehab for 2 knee replacements.
Well, Doc, you better walk around with a bodyguard because I'm sure a few orthopedic surgeons will be very upset to hear you say this.
No, they won't. They've all got a heart. They've all got a heart. Doctors have that, and they want the best. It's just a new mode, a new thing, you know. And I'll tell you, all the nutrition I was taught in my medical school was my senior year, which consisted of a 15-minute talk making fun of vitamins, minerals, and supplements. And it took me 30 years to get that out of my head. And when I started saying, hey, there's got to be something different. When I give a patient one drug and then have to write a prescription for 3 more to counteract the side effects of the first one, let me tell you how bad it is. I talked to a lady a year ago who was on 42 different prescription medicines. 42. I said, do you ever see a mushroom cloud above your head? Surely. Surely. You're going to explode with that much chemistry going on in your body.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, I want to do this in a way that's fitting. And I hope many people have that same burden. I'd like to help people. Believe me. I'm not doing this for the money, folks. I got enough money. I'm doing it to help people. I can guarantee you that.
Wow. There was a man that told me the same thing about his hip. This is Susan speaking now. About his hip and getting off of morphine, and it was bone on bone. So basically she's saying she's heard that same story from other people as well who have had some tremendous results from using Protandim. This is beyond anything I've ever seen or heard of. Doc.
Well, I know it. You know, that's true. And it's more than I've ever seen, and that's what's exciting me about it. I'm telling you, when you've got 29 medical schools doing research on this with their own money, and all LifeVantage is doing is furnishing the Protandim for them, you got a hold of something. You got a hold of something big. And there's several companies trying to make this synthetically because they know this is the answer to aging and to chronic disease. It's been proven.
Right. Okay, Betty says we have a daughter who is having vitamin C infusions plus taking many supplements for a genetic cancer called Lynch syndrome. Would she be able to stop these treatments if she took Protandim? Of course, Doc, you're not going to say she's going to stop treatment for cancer, but what would you say?
No, I would not stop the treatment for cancer because you made that decision. But you should ask your doctor if he will allow her to take this along with whatever the family's decided. This is the better way. Now, if he allows you to give vitamin C IV, which has been tried for years here at the University of Kansas, and they may still be doing it, I don't know. I have a friend that does it in private practice. Surely he'll let her take this, because if you've seen tonight the comparison of vitamin C with Protandim, this is safer than vitamin C because this won't cause kidney stones. And if you get too much vitamin C, you'll get ascorbate stones in your kidney. Now, in some cases that happens. This supersedes that. So if he would like to give her IV this, please prevail upon him to give her Protandim. It won't hurt the vitamin C. Not a bit. Vitamin C is a direct antioxidant. This is a powerful indirect, the only one. Yeah, that's what I'd do. Talk to her. Doctors are reasonable.
Well, you mentioned it. You made a good point. The doctor is already going the natural route anyway, so it does make sense for them to have a I mean, if they see the science, and I'm hoping that Susan, or is it Betty, you can present them with the science on what it can do, and that once they see that, they should be able to agree to that and work with you on that.
Yes, take him that 9th clinical study. Show him that 9th clinical study. Okay?
Okay. All right. All right, and here's my dear Bernie. Bernie Blatter, I have not heard from you or seen you or talked to you in a long time, and Bernie is in Canada. So good to see you on. Okay, Bernie's saying, so from what you say, is it safe to assume that there are no drug interactions with this product? In
That's
particular,
right.
okay, Doc, how about blood thinners? Because that's what she's pointing out right now.
Dr. McCord told me 2 weeks ago yesterday, it will not affect your blood thinning. Now, anybody that's on blood thinners gets their blood checked regularly. So what difference will it make? If it does change it, you're getting it checked. And let me tell you, there's more healing in this than there is in blood thinners. Of course, they're there to prevent clots, and I'm not against that. But
Right.
You see what I mean?
Right.
The people that know or do research says it will not interfere. But even if it would, they're going to be checking your blood anyhow, and they'll know if it changes any, other than, usually when you first go on blood thinners, they go up and down for a while until they stabilize. You can't tell whether it's this or that, but that's not a big issue.
My uncle is nearly, this is Cher speaking now. Cher, tell us where you're from. Cher, we'll go ahead and type which part of the country you're from. My uncle is nearly 90 years old, and has bone-on-bone arthritis in the knees as well. How long should it take before he gets relief? Well, obviously people are different, so you can't really give a specific time. Anyway, he has pain from the bone-on-bone, and I have tried getting him on all kinds of stuff before getting him on Protandim. He thinks he is getting some relief, but is not sure. How long does he need to expect to wait? Okay.
Well, if he thinks he's getting better, why stop?
Right.
It's cheap. Why stop? Keep him on it.
Exactly.
I just believe the patient. The patient tells me, I think I'm better. Do I say, stop it? Don't take it anymore? Of course not. Continue.
And really, go ahead.
If he hadn't got any relief from anything else, why stop it?
Right. Right, exactly. And really, here's the thing, folks. With these webinars, we're hoping to help educate you that it's not just if you have a disease or have an ailment, although it's important to have a relief from those. But even if you don't have a problem, we're trying to encourage intelligent action. I don't have any issues. I don't have arthritis. I don't have pain. I mean, I'm one of the top racquetball players in the state of Oklahoma. I am very active in all kinds of sports and all that. I don't have any issues. But as soon as I heard about this, it was like, it just makes sense. I would be an idiot to me. That's my thinking. I'm not saying that's what your thinking would be. And I'm certainly not trying to persuade you to buy this so we can get commission. That's not what we're talking about. If you've been on our webinars for any length of time, you know that our goal is to help you live more intelligently about your health, period. And we've been doing these free webinars now for 4 years, so you know we are absolutely committed to that. So again, please look beyond the whole, we're trying to get you to sign up and all that. We want you to look at this as making intelligent decisions for yourself and for your family. Whether or not you have an ailment, it just makes sense to give your body the best resources out there, because really none of us is going to get out of this alive, even Dr. Marvin. we are some way or the other, and so the question is how well we live before we leave this earth. So
right.
Okay.
Put more
life
in your years.
Put more life in your years. Okay. All right, Cher again. Cher's from New York. Thank you for replying, Cher. The reason I asked about how long it would take for my uncle to begin to see results is I simply want to help him structure his expectations and not to quit too soon. Makes sense?
3 months.
3 months. Okay.
Yeah, and then call me. 3 months and call me.
Okay. Cher again. Boy, Cher, you're asking a lot of questions. Is Dr. Marvin familiar with the whole subject of blood type diet? If so, what does he have to say about the lectin-forming potential of certain of the ingredients in certain blood types. Yet, Dr. McCord says Protandim is completely universal. Would this be because the amounts are so small, or perhaps the synergy eliminates the lectin response?
I think it eliminates it.
Okay, so it's too small to have any noticeable effect,
right.
Correct?
Right.
All right.
Too small.
All right. And by the way, Dr. Block, a good friend of mine again, he's 73, and Dr. Marvin, I was in Dallas with Dr. Block, and we were in the gym together, and he was lifting weights that were twice the weights I was carrying, and he was kicking my butt.
Well, maybe it needed it.
Oh dear. Maybe you did. Maybe you did. Okay. Betty, what about hepatitis C? Any results for hepatitis C? I have a few people really interested in knowing the effects. Doc.
Yes, we've had great effects. Tune in tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Ask that question, and you'll get a lot of answers.
Okay.
Tune in
Good.
tomorrow night at my telephone conference, and ask that question to me, and we'll get a lot of answers for you.
Okay, great. Oh, by the way, I was going to say that Dr. Block will be talking about lectin very soon on a webinar. He has a whole presentation on that, and he's probably going to touch on gluten sensitivities as well. So, I mean, there are a lot of the foods that we're eating today, folks, that are causing an epidemic of all kinds of sensitivities that are destroying our gut, destroying the lining of our intestines. And it's just good for us to be aware of some of the things that can be causing damage. I don't know if you've had any results with celiac disease and ulcerative colitis, Doc.
Yes, and Crohn's. I've had it all. We get tremendous results.
Now, does that mean they can keep eating whatever it is that they're sensitive to and
eventually
protect them? Really?
Eventually, we have a lady in Wichita that was taken off her meds for Crohn's. Had no evidence.
Interesting. Interesting. All right. What are your thoughts concerning chelation? I am taking Protandim. I wonder if this is a good thing to do.
Sure. Sure, chelation's always good. Are you using it for your blood vessels? Or what purpose are you taking chelation? Chelation is well established.
Mm-hmm. Well, there are also safer ways than chelation. Chelation always carries with it. There are some risks, maybe low, small, but there is a risk with puncturing your blood vessels and using chelation. So if you need to be sure, you go to someone who is very qualified to do chelation. And if you're not sure about it,
I'm doing oral chelation myself.
What are you using?
I'm using a preparation for artery chelation. It's working. Way before I got on Protandim, now I depend on Protandim. According to the Ohio State study, it will keep your arteries open, your grafts open after a cabbage operation, coronary artery bypass graft. That was proven by the Ohio State School of Medicine research. And you can find that on bigbluecalendar.com. Okay?
Would you do chelation if you're taking Protandim? You've already answered that question, right?
Yeah. I wouldn't do IV. I would not do IV with Protandim, so they don't think you need it at that degree. But I'd continue my oral while I take Protandim. You know, you can't be too well. You can't be too fat. You can be, but you can't be too skinny. So why not be healthy?
Right. Give your body the best.
Yes.
It deserves it.
It's the only one you have,
That's
David.
Right. You can't replace this one. That's right. That's right. Okay, Joan from down under again. Dear Joan. Mom is very tired. She has a disabled 12-year-old post-leukemia chemotherapy patient. How much each day? One a day?
Yes.
But this is a person that has a lot of toxins in the blood.
One
from
a day.
Chemotherapy, even then.
Yes, because if you give more, you'll unload all those toxins all of a sudden, and she'll probably feel miserable.
Okay.
So you want to take them out progressively, but not by taking more than one a day. Dr. McCord says it's only rare can he justify more than one a day. By the way, that 20-year-old that had brain damage and heart damage, he was brought home with a total price of the Protandim was about $76. I think she thought that was a good investment.
I would say so too. I would like to know what the hospital stay price was.
Yeah, but much more than that. Yep, much more than that.
All right. Hang on, let me check one more thing. This has been good, Doc. This has been very good. Lots of great questions. Cher, Joan, the two Joans, Bernie. Joan wants she wants to have both the tabs and the cream. She was very skeptical before, Doc. She was like, it's not. It's nowhere near as good as AO. But apparently, you've been able to convince her.
Well, it's just the facts, you know, just the facts, man.
All right, I almost forgot to mention Dr. Tinas' what he wrote. I'm just going to read this out, folks. You can listen to this. This is Dr. Tinas, who has been a very good friend and good support of what we do, and he's all gung-ho on Protandim himself. And he's an MD. He's a radiologist here in the Midwest. Okay. Dr. David, I found a good definition of oxidative stress on www.cellbiolabs.com/oxidative stress, cellular stress. All right, where multiple tests are offered, which know little about. Okay, I'm going to keep reading. Oxidative stress is caused by the presence of any of a number of reactive oxygen species which the cell is unable to counterbalance. The result is damage to one or more molecules, including DNA, RNA, proteins, and lipids. Oxidative stress has been implicated in the natural aging process as well as a variety of disease states, including neoplastic cancer, solid tumors, hematological or blood tumors, blood cancers, metabolic, obesity and diabetes, neurological, Alzheimer's disease, and Parkinson's disease. So that kind of explains why the results that we're getting or we're seeing with Protandim, because oxidative stress is what causes all those things. And so if oxidative stress can be minimized to that of a 20-year-old, well, then it does make sense that the body has a chance to heal itself and recover from all that damage and recover well. So that makes sense a little bit, right?
Right.
Okay. All right. Will Protandim help in reducing swelling of the brain and help blood in the brain to be absorbed more quickly than if you allow the body to do it yourself?
Sure.
She wasn't. It will?
Yes, it depends on what causes the swelling.
Okay.
If it's inflammatory, this is a terrific anti-inflammatory.
So Protandim is both an antioxidant and an anti-inflammatory. Is that what you're saying?
Right. You bet.
Interesting. Well, and here's the thing, folks. Even if it doesn't solve all the problems, at least you're taking a step in the right direction, and then you can find out what else you need to do. If you have this as a foundation, you can do other things, and of course you can still medical science still has a lot to do with, especially when talking about brain health and brain damage and all kinds of things. So take advantage of everything that you have is the point we're trying to make. Take advantage of the best of medical science and the best of nutritional science. Of course, don't forget to pray.
Sure.
That always helps. All right, Imogen, I have a cardiac catheter done I had a cardiac catheterization done in April, and recently was again in hospital for problems with my heart. And now the cardiologist says I need to see an EP doc as I have an electrical problem. How can I benefit from this?
How can she benefit?
Yeah. What's an EP doc anyway? What's an EP doc?
It's an electrophysiologist. He does conversions. He does ablations. He does all types of treatment of the electrical system of the heart. What she can do is start taking Protandim now and see what develops. It won't hurt anything. It'll only help.
Mm-hmm.
It's safe.
Mm-hmm.
It's not expensive. You know, that's all there is to it. A little over $1 a day. How many drugs can you buy at that price?
Yeah.
None.
That is amazing. That is amazing. That is amazing. And Imogen, you actually asked me to call you, and I called you back, but I didn't hear. What benefits could I expect to see with Protandim? Well, okay. Well, now she's asking the question again, Doc. What benefit does she expect to see?
Well, just the ones that I've mentioned tonight. You know, she'll have better circulation. Have her read the Ohio State blood vessel study, the Ohio State heart study on Big Blue Calendar. That's what I said a while ago to somebody else. It's all there, what it'll do. It will help you.
Okay. And I just want to mention again, folks, that if you were invited by, Dr. Marvin has already said this, but if you were invited by someone else, please get back with the person who invited you. If you have any questions, we will try to get your questions answered. That's what we're here for. But if you want to purchase the products, we will help you take care of that. And if you're in a country, and I know there are some people in Australia and New Zealand that has not had Protandim or Life Advantage enter that country yet, and you're looking for a way to purchase it, we can help you do that as well. So just go ahead and call, and I've already helped a couple of people do it anyway. So just call us, and then we can help you see if you can get it over to your part of the world. Okay, we're going to do one last question and wrap this thing up. I think it's been a great day. Oh, and by the way, Susan Dreger says, thank you, Dr. Marvin, for doing such an awesome job, in capital letters. Well, you are a gift from God.
Well, thank you.
Not me. How about, don't I get some kind of credit here? I mean, how come Dr. Marvin is the only one getting thank yous? How about me?
You'll get yours later, David.
I guess so. I guess so. You too, David. All right. Thank you, Susan. Yeah, you're forgiven. All right. I get a lot of people saying their company also sells antioxidants, like, and they mentioned a couple of other companies. Do I use the direct versus indirect logic? I think you're going to use a lot more than that.
Yeah. What you need to do is use an indirect. It's been proven, folks. Look at the figures, 1 to 1 versus 1 to 1,000,000 per second, every second for 13 days. That ought to answer your question about any direct antioxidant. It isn't even in the ballpark.
Right, right. There's so much more. That's just amazing. It's not even funny. So much more.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Joan, for David, too. Oh, it's been great. Thank you for joining us tonight. And that's the information in front of you. You can call or leave a message on Building Strength Webinars voicemail 206-203-4414. We'll try to get your things taken care of. And please leave a message and show us how we can get back with you. All right? It's been great. Thank you all. Have a great night. God bless.
God bless. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.